to God's Golden Acres. I'm Kim, and today we're heading to Homesteading Life Conference with Doug and Stacy. So it'll be our first homesteading conference ever, and the first conference I've been to in a really, really long time. So right now we're over, at Walmart. We forgot notebooks, and we're like, we're definitely gonna need to take notes. So Andrew's run inside and he's getting notebooks. I got all our tickets just up on the app. It was in my email, but I figured the app was easier. So it should be a fun weekend. We are currently in our little car. It doesn't have air. And I'm drinking hot tea and it's like 80 something degrees outside. So I'm hoping that they have air conditioning. Seems silly, but I'd really not like to be sweaty all day.
I saw below me, I golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Islands to the Redwood Forest.
First of all, does everyone know who I am? No, I don't. Because sometimes you don't. So basically, if you don't, I am just a person. I'm not an expert in fermenting. It's just something when we moved out here 13 years ago. It was one of those things where we didn't have electricity, we didn't have water.
There's nothing else you can consume to heal the gut that has the power, even close to the power that bone broth does. It also builds strong joints. Now I know that people kind of accept today that you get older, you're going to have your knees replaced, your this replaced. My mother had her hip replaced, I think 3 times before she died. We weren't designed to need joint replacements.
It's hot.
Are you recording?
Yeah, I am recording.
It's hot.
Couple nights sleep. What? Aw, did you? Aw. Why? Oh, different surroundings. It's really hard for Stacy and I because of all the lights. I'm at the hotel, but they got the fire light, they got the blinking light, they got the TV light, they got all these lights. We don't have any lights. Yeah, I close my eyes, but I'm the guy when I go like this. Oh, and my eye catches that light, I'm like up for the next 2 hours trying to redo it. All right, 500 attendees, right? 500 people seeking a better life. Right, I love it. All right, so we're just gonna hang out. We're gonna run a little candywalkers. It's all right. Hold on now. Shh, Chris. Come on. Shh. You guys got to hear this story. Go ahead.
So the video is called "The Best Composting Toilet System I've Seen Yet."
Seen it.
So I had a friend of mine who made composting toilets. You got to come and see this thing that I've done. So I went to film and was like, "Yeah, that's a cool system. I like it. That's the best one I've seen yet."
He's got to cover his ass a little bit. So then he puts the thing out there, and I'm like, the best system yet. That thing costs like $3,000, dude. I'm pooping in a bucket. This is the best system yet. And then me and him get into this thing about the compost and the toilet.
He said, I don't know what I'm talking about. I said he wrote like a 6-year-old girl, I think.
He's a reader. He probably has better vocabulary. Hey, read your books, folks. A lot of us have abandoned that since we're not at school. Like, I'm guilty of it. Like, I've been preaching it lately, right? If you want the things on the higher shelf, you got to stand on the books you read to get it, right? Okay. Knowledge is power, right? I told you guys yesterday, we talked about it, right? Seek and you shall find, and you cannot live off of bread alone, right? It takes the words and the knowledge, right? So go ahead.
So anyhow, I ran into Doug in Blackstown.
Yeah, well, Florida was the first time we ever had a face-to-face.
I actually meet him in person, and you're like, remember how we met? I was like, well, I didn't realize, he was so tall from the internet. But so I told him, I remember talking back and forth, we were just laughing about it. I said, it's years later. It's 6, 7, 8 years, something like that later. And I'm like, I
Because time tells.
I know I was right.
I know it, baby.
He rides away on his little electric bicycle.
I was right there.
I know I was right.
That's right. One for me. I love it. Fantastic fellow. I'm glad we actually had the exchange. I'm glad I actually got to see him in Florida. I actually enjoy his company. His family's really sweet.
So I wrote these really complicated lyrics. You just kind of got to imagine mid-90s REM, you know, before they sold out and actually made it on the radio. And my son is going to play lead on this. If we can set up, got it? We're going to have to do a quick sound test here. Longer sound test now. There's got to be some girls in cages. No, that's not sorry. Not that kind of show. Ready? There's a truck in my field, there is a truck. On the back is a thing, yeah, a thing is on the back. What's that thing on the back of the truck that's in my field? It's a lime buggy, line. What's the thing on the back of the truck in my field? It's a lime buggy, line. Lime buggy on a truck with a lime buggy filled with lime filled buggy thing, yeah. That thing on the back of the truck that's in my field. It's a lime buggy, line. What's the thing on the back of the truck in my field? It's a lime buggy, line. Let me know the time, all the time we spread that line. Every instant is an instant where we spread that line. In the future and the past, spreading line across the gray, yes. Lime buggy, line. Lime buggy, line. Lime buggy on a truck with a lime buggy filled with lime filled buggy thing.
Come see me at the orange tablecloth, but I also own my daughter God's Good Table, which is dedicated to teaching the same principles that I teach from Untitled and taking them out there in a different format to the community, Christian community at large and beyond. I'm a wife to a wonderful man.
Put them out of business. Rolling blackouts, right? Why did the power go off? Nobody knows. I'm gonna get you guys off grid right now. You didn't know it, but this is your crash course. So
gonna need to delay a little bit. When it comes back on, it'll start. If it doesn't, we're gonna have to figure this out.
weeatclay.com. Somebody can check it and make sure it comes up, but
best option for everybody. And I'll let her introduce herself. Yeah.
Hi guys. My name's Leilani. Can everybody hear me? Well, okay. My name's Leilani. If you can't remember my name, that's okay. Some people just call me Skipper, and that's fine. So I run a channel on YouTube. It's called Make It Make, and it's kind of something I just live by. I'll say it again. It's called Make It Make. It's all one word. Just because an Amishman one day was fixing this old 1960s orange vacuum board that I had, and I couldn't fix it. He said I couldn't get it to make, so I had to make it make. And I was just like, well, that's exactly what I live by. And that's kind of what we were doing here. We had a couple struggles here with the cucumbers, but I was just like, we'll make it work. We'll make it make.
Is Rita in there?
So.
Go to the bathroom. We'll wait for a second. Don't hurry. Here's our little homestead homies. We're not so little anymore. They all grown up on us.
Come on over here in the spotlight. Sweat.
My name's Mike Walden. This is my wife Rebecca.
They're nervous.
What Doug's sitting on is part of Mom's cabin original. And I actually had a little snippet picture of, I believe it was Gary, cutting the end of it off as it fell down. I don't have that with me right now, but I asked Doug if I could have those to make something out of. So I decided maybe I could just make either a stool or an end table. They go in Mom's cabin, so we live in the Ozarks, so I went out in the woods and cut a few trees down and made the legs for it and put it together.
Then he made this little plaque right here.
And we made the plaque for it.
Ridge Green from Mom's Cabin, off with Doug and Stacy, April 2021.
Well, we've been back on the farm for a few days since the conference. I mean, it was a wonderful time. There was lots of great information. I took tons of notes. I really didn't film that much while we were there, simply because one, first homesteading conference, so I'm getting a lay of the land, and two, I was taking notes. Just so many useful tidbits and helpful scenarios that, you know, you can't forget it. And you know when you're going through that many classes in 2 days that you're gonna forget something. Watering with our sprinkler. And I'm just gonna scoot us back real quick. We're still fighting weeds, but it is after tilling, looking so much better. This needs tilled in the center, but it's really gonna look nice once we get it tilled and get the weeds knocked down there. So there's definitely things we're going to implement from the conference. One session was called like chicken coop on steroids, and it was a way of making compost with your chickens and rotating them. And we had a similar idea, so there's some tweaks we're making because obviously our farm is not set up the same way their farm is, but we're implementing that. Well, granted, you have to build it, but we're implementing that. I learned, and I went to the fermenting classes, and then I got, which I will show you in a minute, little a fermenting top to let it burp itself, and a weight. Stacy was handing those out. I also won canning lids, which is funny. You have to see if you can get Doug to agree, but I won it because I knew they had different colored cards. I knew mine was green. Well, one fell out and I was like, hey, whose is that one? I'm kidding. I really was. Well, sort of. I kind of really wanted to know because I was like, that could be me. And like, I was like, hey, who's that? And the guys from that had the cans picked up that deck and you're like, you really want to know? I was like, yes, I really want to know. And so he looked at me and he's like, Kimberly. And I was like, that's me. I was like, yes. And I'm glad I've asked. Because like the worst thing they could have said, well, we're going to go with this one, right? Like, why not ask? And Doug was like, you knew that was yours. You saw it. And I was like, the world will never know. Which I didn't. I couldn't see. I just knew mine was green, so I asked. But it was so funny. And, you know, and I was in the back, so it was pretty clear that I couldn't, like, you know, I wasn't in the front row where it fell and you could see the writing. Like, it was all good. So here's some of the things we won / were given. So canning lids. These are 4 jars. They are going to be thicker and slightly different shaped on the rim to actually have more seal. So we're going to try these out. I'm pretty excited to try these out, actually, because the ball lids have gotten so quiet when they ping. I'm like, man, their quality is going downhill. Then we got some salt, which we're going to start buying the salt. I like the taste of it better. And it seems like it has some health benefits. So we're going to start buying this, but right now we're just going to use this container. So here's the burping lid. It has a cross hatch in the top, much like a sippy cup, to allow some air to escape. And this is just a piece of fuzz. These are also from Redmond with their sea salt and minerals for a drink. And here is the weight. So it's for, I believe, a regular mouth, right? Like a regular mouth canning jar to keep your ferments under the water. Thing is, I have broccoli and cauliflower started in my bathroom because it's still just a little hot. And I planted it literally the day before we left. And when I came back 2 days later, it was all sprouted. And it usually takes like 3 to 5 days. On the package, it even says like 5 to 7. And I was like, well, I'm not supplementing the heat. It is kind of warm in the house, but it should be fine. Nope. It's all going up and a little leggy. So I got the lights turned on because I didn't ask my mother-in-law to even look at it while we were gone because her and my father-in-law had the kids. So I do think we'll probably go back next year. I do know once you've been there, you'll obviously have some repeat classes, which also might give us more time to like shop because we didn't do very much shopping. We didn't bring cash with us either, so we didn't do very much shopping. Love the riverboat. Been on senior boat before. My college did senior boat on the Illinois River. They don't do that anymore. We were one of the last years. Hey guys, I am letting you in to get your dune buggy. Still one happy pig. He likes to poop under the shade cloth and then sleep in his hut, which necessarily the reason we gave him shade cloth, but I guess if that's what makes you happy, pig, I'm not gonna fuss too much. We just figured he'd like shade with airflow. Apparently not. That's where he likes to poop. So, thanks for being with us today. If you are interested in Doug and Stacy's homesteading conference, they usually post something or get stuff kind of arranged, what I've been told, about a week after. So look in next week. You might see something. Homesteading Live Conference 2023, and they are kind of to the point where they either grow or shrink. So we're probably going to be looking into booking fairly quickly. I'm hoping that they might be able to even like there's another theater like down the street a little ways. Maybe they'd let another event or speaker go there or something, because they're definitely like full in the Star in Hannibal, Missouri. It's a hard life. Fresh veggies that you have to help with sometimes in the garden, and playing outside all day. Doesn't it make you jealous? No. But trains. The schedule has gotten totally screwed up with shipping issues, and there are days where we don't even hear a train, and there are days other than the Amtrak, which goes through twice a day. But then there are days where it's just non-stop trains, like, and you might even sit at the track because there's like 3 or 4 trains that have gone through. It's just so busy. Shipping, like, if you want to know about shipping issues and like see evidence of it, the trains will tell you. My goodness, are they sporadic and inaccurate and crazy. And then they're also having communication issues. So trains are just sitting there because they don't know if another train is on the same track as them, because there's 2 tracks over there. It's terrible. And if you were at the Homesteading Life Conference, you will know there was a power outage, and I had a little bit of it in my video from the clips. And it's like, that's weird. Like, the day before was hotter, and they said it was a fire at the transformer, but we could see the transformer from the conference. I don't know how many people realize that. We don't live that far from Hannibal. So we kind of knew where the transformer was. But my sister-in-law also lived in Hannibal for a little while. So we kind of know our way around, right? We could see it. There was no smoke. The rumor was that there was a fire that was coming from not just the conference people making assumptions, but just intel from town. Rumor was that there was a fire, and I can tell you there was not a fire. The transformer, maybe getting maintenance. I don't know. I don't want to go like full tinfoil hat, right? Like, because maintenance happens, and honestly, they don't tell you. They don't tell you when they're going to do maintenance on that stuff, and they just don't care if they shut off your power in the middle of making a roast. But it was weird, and that's all I'm going to leave it at. It was weird. So, thanks for being with us today. If you like this video, follow along. We're sure to hit up more conferences. Definitely going to hit one up in a year. If you want to see our future videos, we're doing a strawberry farm. We should be starting up, we have the plants started for next year, and we'll start selling next year. So if you want to follow along for that, go ahead and do that. We also do gardening. In the winter, I do wood stove cooking. We'll do some canning, maybe some fermenting, but I'm going to get some of that under my belt first. And lots of stuff. So if you want to hit subscribe and follow along for that, go for it. And we're going to be praying for you. God bless.